In the last days, God says, I will pour out my spirit upon all people. Your sons and your daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions, and your old men will dream dreams. In those days, I will pour out my spirit even on my servants, men and women alike, and they will prophesy. The King James translates that last part as also upon my handmaidens. Now, I'm just going to speak the truth that needs to be said. The Patriot Nurse, being a Jewish woman alone in Tennessee, has to be the most terrifying thing imaginable at this moment in time. I cannot imagine how she gets through day to day. She was sick for many months of this year. She lost a parent, if I'm not mistaken, and then she was involved in a car wreck and is in pain. And on top of that, with what's going on with YouTube, I don't know how she gets through day to day, to be very honest. So if you wonder why, this channel supports her. This channel mentions her and tries to get people to drive over to her channel and help her through. This is why. Tennessee has to be one of the most terrifying places to live if you're Jewish, man or woman, alone or not. It's just that way. A lot of people like to talk about Michigan. I know Dearborn is bad. I grew up a hop, skip, and a jump from Dearborn. I know all about it. But Tennessee's worse. A lot of people think this is overkill for her. No. Absolutely not. People tuned into her live event yesterday and some said, she sounds angry. I'm like, I have every reason to believe that she has a right to be. Given what's going on, she has to be terrified. So I just want to clear the air. If we are given to do anything, it is to lift each other up and protect each other in times of need. I'll say it right now. I've had private channel communications. My doors are open here in Florida, no strings attached. If she ever wants to get out of Tennessee, I got plenty of room. So and those of you that doubt this about Tennessee, this has been covered by many outlets. Tennessee is the capital of American jihad. How many of you know the first deadly terrorist attack after 9/11 occurred in Tennessee? I'll give you the link to this article and you can read all about it. The anti-Semitism in that state outstrips Michigan by far. So once again, I want to live a life of gratitude and say thank you to all of you that have supported both me and the Patriot Nurse at Patreon and at other platforms. We sure appreciate it. With what's going on now, I'm just really not sure how much longer they're going to allow, pardon me, the camera's getting a little crazy on me here, us to talk about what needs to be talked about, even in any context here on YouTube. It's just the way it is. And she's been doing this a lot longer than I have. And she has a Patreon channel. She's got different levels, so do I. You know, certain things talk and certain things walk. And I appreciate y'all. I pray for y'all every night. God bless every one of you doing whatever you can do. I sure do appreciate it. Even the comments, the likes, the shares, they all make a difference. If you're doing something, God bless you. I sure appreciate it. $1 per month. That's it. Even less if you sign up for an entire year. Fully refundable. First 90 days, no questions asked. Partnering with Vimeo. You can take the gloves off and talk about things in a very different way. Now, those of you that might take issue with Florida versus Tennessee when it comes to that type of thing, let me show you something. Somebody shared this with me from Instagram. Wow, while behind the scenes, while Biden leaves Americans behind in war zones, Florida Congressman Corey Mills flew to Israel within 24 hours of the Hamas attack to help rescue stranded Americans. This is leadership by example. From serving in the Army to now serving in the halls of Congress. Thank you for your continued service to our country, Congressman Corey Mills from Florida. Well done. Well done. See, we do things a little bit differently here in Florida. Now, ready for a blast from the past? How many of you remember Surfside? This goes back to 2021. It's over 2 years ago. Woke up early one morning to the news that there had been this collapse of a condominium down in Miami. And when we looked at the pictures, because there was a live camera across the street, another building, it looked very familiar. There were these flashes that occurred before the collapse. And it looked very much like somebody had planned this. Somebody had done this. Now, what a lot of people didn't know is this particular condominium was owned, the different units were owned by Jewish community. And many people didn't put the two and two together, that it was exactly 25 years to the day of the Khobar Towers bombing in Beirut. 25 years to the day. People also didn't know that it was also a Jewish holiday. Does any of this sound familiar? Any of this sound familiar at all? 25 years of the day from the Khobar Towers. Also a Jewish holiday. It's called Tammuz. It was when Moses broke the Ten Commandments. And then so many days later, they picked up two known terrorists trying to leave the country into Canada. Now, does any of this make sense? Some people have said that they don't believe that this whole thing with the Abraham Accords has anything to do with it. This was all 2021. This is all 2021. Well, guess what? Now they have found ISIS flags left around different areas in Gaza and southern Israel. If you go back to 2021, this is a month before, it was an embarrassing time, the challenges for Arab nations that made peace with Israel. Inside, and a lot of people, look, Obama blew it with the Arab Spring. He tried this as well and failed. Trump tried this and failed. Biden tried this and failed. Okay, this is not, I'm not picking on any one of them, that any one of them did it any worse. But make no mistake, ISIS flag found in Hamas equipment, as Netanyahu makes direct connection between terror groups. Hamas is ISIS. A year after their signing, here's how the Abraham Accords changed the Middle East. Normalization agreements with the UAE, Bahrain, Sudan, Morocco have endured, and they said that they were even starting to bear fruit. And believe me, there were people inside Saudi Arabia, inside Jordan, inside Lebanon that hated it. And they wanted to see it fail. And this was reported on. They wanted to see this fail. Not because it was Trump, just because they don't want peace with Israel. About those DOA Abraham Accords, Palestinian foreign minister slams moves to normalize relations with Israel. They didn't want peace. Palestinians slammed traitor UAE for normalizing ties with Israel. They didn't want peace. None of them did. There wasn't a country out there that wanted peace. Israel hadn't been a state for literally 5 seconds before the 6 Day War, before the Yom Kippur War, before they decided to try to exterminate them. They had literally just been established. And it has been a nonstop stated goal of all these Arab nations to destroy Israel. It has nothing to do with Gaza. Now, there's a tactic coming up that they're going to use, that all outgunned forces use, that I'm not sure anyone is really seeing. They went and they did this incredibly heinous, vicious attack. Infiltration, distraction, confusion, deception, divide and conquer, attrition. How many of you know what a warren is? Some people are familiar with warrens in the context of fishing, where you can take a different part of a stream and you can redirect parts of current, and you can create different blocking and barriers to funnel fish in to where they can get in but they can't get out. Rabbits build warrens, all sorts of little animals do. This is what's underneath and waiting for the Israeli forces in Gaza. And you would think, well, they just gotta, root them out. There's a better way if you're what they're gonna do, what these terrorists are gonna do. How many of you remember me talking about asymmetric warfare when it came to the Romans? how the barbarians would attack, and then when the Romans would finally come after them, they would leave all of their camp behind, and they would run, and the Romans would come through, and they would take the spoils of war. And they leave a few broken weapons, but usually they would leave food, cooking. And what a lot of people don't remember about that time is a lot of soldiers didn't get paid very regularly. So they took whatever they could as spoils of war as payment. And so they would leave this stuff, but they would poison it. But they wouldn't poison it in a way where it would kill the Roman soldiers right away. It would just make them sick. And it would work slowly to the point where someone might look and say, oh, well, he can't hold his whatever. Maybe he had a drink or two, or, maybe something else is going on. By the time people figured out it was the food, it was too late. And most of the unit will have been affected by this. Now, they're going to leave behind biological warfare. This is what they're going to do. They're going to wait for the Israelis to roll in. They're going to have these warrens, and they're going to be contaminated. And they're not going to be contaminated with something that's going to be easily, readily identifiable. It's just going to be something that might get you kind of sick in a day or two, maybe a little more sick in 3 or 4 days. And it's going to work its way through those forces. And they're going to play the attrition game. This is the game. Infiltrate. Number 1, they did that. Distract. Most of the world wasn't paying attention. Confusion. Who was this? Well, how did they do it? Deception. Divide and conquer. We're seeing that in the media. And now attrition. They're not going to try to go gun to gun with them. They're not going to try to go gun to gun with them. They are going to use this. Mark my words. People talked about the whole thing with COVID being some type of a biological warfare weapon. You're going to see it. You're going to see it. Mark my words. This is what they're going to do. Because they know they just have to outlast. They know they have backup in Jordan. They know they have backup in Lebanon. They know they have backup in Saudi Arabia and Iran and Pakistan and Afghanistan. And they have all sorts of places to run. They have all sorts of places to run and wait all this out. And this is DNI, nationalintelligence.gov. This Hamas, Israel, the Haqqani network in Pakistan and Afghanistan. Hezbollah Islami Gulbuddin, another terrorist unit. Hezbollah, Lebanon. Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, or otherwise known as ISIL, Iraq. Jaish-e-Mohammed, Pakistan. Jemaah Islam, they could even flee all the way to Indonesia. Lashkar-e Jhangvi, Pakistan. Lord's Resistance Army, Africa. All over the place. They have places to go. And this is how they're going to play this game. And yeah, even here. Even here. So I just wanted to clear the air. I cannot imagine how terrified she must be. So when I ask for prayer, I mean it. Pray. Lift each other up. Pray for each other. I'll pray for you. Pray for me. God bless. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.